Hi, I'm Elise. Before I continue, please hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this one. You ever have a moment in your life that feels perfect until someone ruins it? That's exactly what happened to me at my engagement dinner last week. But to understand what went down, I need to back up a bit. My amazing boyfriend Marcus had just proposed in the most beautiful way, a sunset picnic in the park where we first met. And the ring? Oh, it wasn't just any ring. It was my late mom's vintage rose gold ring with a sapphire center stone. My Aunt Grace had been keeping it safe for years. She and Marcus secretly had it restored. When he opened that little velvet box, I burst into tears. "Your mom would have wanted you to have this," he said, slipping it onto my finger. It was perfect. Until the dinner. So here's where things go downhill. My dad, Richard, got remarried 3 years ago to Diana. And Diana? She has a daughter, Amber, who basically treats Dad's house like her own personal kingdom. The dinner started fine. My dad even teared up when he saw the ring. "It looks perfect on you, sweetheart. Just like it did on your mother." And that's when I saw it. Diana's smile froze. She stared at my hand the entire dinner, whispering to Amber, who was glaring at me like I'd stolen something. Marcus squeezed my hand under the table. "You okay?" he whispered. Then, out of nowhere, Diana drops this. "Richard, isn't that the ring we discussed giving to Amber for her graduation?" The whole table went silent. My dad blinked. "What?" "No, that's Catherine's ring. It was always meant for Elise." Diana tilted her head, all fake sweet. "But darling, don't you remember? We talked about Amber needing a special piece of family jewelry, since Elise barely visits." I nearly choked. "Excuse me? This was my mother's ring." "Well, we're all family now," she said with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "And Amber's the one living here, carrying on the family legacy. It just makes sense for her to have it." Amber perked up. "Mom's right. I should get it. I'm the one who's actually here for Dad." My perfect engagement moment? Destroyed. Diana even reached across the table for my hand. "Let me see it properly, dear. After all, if it's going to be Amber's." I yanked my hand back. "This ring isn't going anywhere. It's my mother's." And then Diana turned to my dad with that sickly sweet voice. "Richard, tell her what we discussed about family traditions." My dad shifted in his seat. "Honey, I don't remember having that conversation." "Of course you do," Diana snapped. "Last month. You agreed the ring should go to Amber." I looked at my dad, my voice cracking. "Dad, is that true?" He couldn't meet my eyes. "Maybe we should discuss this as a family. Diana makes some valid points." That's when Marcus stood up, voice steady. "Sir, with all due respect, this ring belonged to Elise's mother. There's no discussion needed." Fast forward 2 weeks. I'm back at my dad's house for what Diana calls a peacemaking brunch. Big mistake. I was helping in the kitchen when I slipped the ring off to wash my hands. Just for a second. When I came back, gone. "My ring. It's not here," I shouted. Cue the chaos. Everyone's running around searching. Diana gasps dramatically. "Oh dear. You must have dropped it somewhere else. Everyone, help her look." Except, something felt off. Too eager. Too planned. Then I remembered the security cameras Marcus convinced Dad to install after some break-ins. I pulled up the kitchen feed on my phone. And there she was. Diana. Slipping into the kitchen during the commotion. Taking my ring. Shoving it into her pocket. I turned the screen to everyone. Diana went white, then shrieked, "How dare you accuse me?" But her hand? It went straight to her pocket. I was just making things right. "Richard promised this ring to Amber." That's when Aunt Grace stormed forward, her voice like steel. "That's impossible. I have Catherine's will right here." She left the ring to Elise, with me as custodian until her engagement. It was never Richard's to promise. Diana's face turned a shade of purple I didn't know humans could make. "This is ridiculous. We're Elise's family now. We have more right to heirlooms than some dead woman's wishes." Even Amber looked horrified. "I'm calling my lawyer," Diana spat. "If you won't hand it over, we'll let the courts decide." And my dad? He just sat there pale and shaking, watching his wife threaten to sue his own daughter over his dead wife's ring. That night, I called my childhood best friend James, who, lucky for me, is now a lawyer. She's got nothing, he said. But we're going to make her prove it. The next Saturday, we set up a formal meeting at Dad's. James came with his briefcase and a hidden recorder. I had one too. Diana strutted in like she was heading to court. Amber trailed behind her, pale as a ghost. Before we start, Diana announced, I've consulted top lawyers. Family heirlooms belong with the primary household. James leaned back in his chair, smiling. Interesting. Could you explain why you took the ring from the kitchen that day? Diana froze for half a second, then sneered. I was protecting family property. Richard promised that ring to Amber months ago. Didn't you, darling? Amber's voice shook. Mom. I checked my phone. Dad never promised anything. I found our old conversations. You said you'd make sure I got the ring, even if you had to take it yourself. The room went silent. Diana's eyes went wide. You ungrateful little. Amber cut her off. I also found your searches about pawning antique rings. Were you even going to give it to me? And that's when Diana cracked. Of course not. Why would I want you to have that tacky old thing? But if that little Princess Elise kept it, she'd lord it over us forever with her fancy job and perfect fiancé. At least if I sold it, we'd get something useful out of it. Dad shot to his feet, his chair clattering to the floor. That's enough. That ring was Catherine's. My first wife's. The mother of my child. How dare you? James cleared his throat. Thank you, Diana. That was quite a confession. Her face drained as he held up his phone, the recording app glowing. You tricked me, she screamed. Richard, are you going to let them do this to me? For the first time in 3 years, my dad walked to my side, put his hand on my shoulder, and said, the only person who did anything here is you. Get out of my house. Now. Amber stepped away from her mother. I'm so sorry, Elise. I didn't know what she was really like. Not until I saw. She held up her phone. All of this. Diana's voice was shrill as she realized everyone had turned against her. This isn't over. I'll make you all sorry. But as I watched her storm out, screaming empty threats, I knew it was over. A week later, Dad and I sat over coffee. Your mom was friends with most of these people, he said quietly. They always thought I moved on too fast. Guess they were right. He slid a velvet box across the table. My mom's ring. Still perfect. I found it in Diana's jewelry box, along with credit card statements and secrets. The business she claimed to run failed 2 years ago. She's been spending my money pretending to meet clients. He rubbed his face. I filed for divorce yesterday. Amber messaged me on Instagram. Mom's in Ohio. She tried to get me to speak against you and Dad. I blocked her number. When we met for lunch, she slid a stack of wedding magazines across the table. I know I don't deserve it, she said softly, but I'd love to help plan. If you'll let me. Planning my wedding became a kind of healing. Dad came to every vendor meeting. He and Marcus bonded over terrible sci-fi movies. Aunt Grace told stories about Mom at my age. And every time I looked down at the sapphire on my finger, I could almost hear my mom's voice. You were always meant to have this. So, what would you have done if you were my dad? Would you have stood up to Diana right at the dinner table, or do you understand why he hesitated? Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and standing up for what's right in your family? Tell me in the comments. And if you love this story of family drama and redemption, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another story time.